All right, Hambino, I've talked enough tonight. You do your thing.
Okay,
Do
this
it.
segment is brought to you by Kid Caddy Golf. For those unfamiliar, if you're a new dad and you're wondering how you'll still be able to play golf now that you got that little one, you need to check out the Kid Caddy. It's a golf club holder that attaches to your stroller and turns it into a push cart. It fits almost any stroller and lets you bring a full set of clubs, 7 golf balls, and everything you need to turn nap time into a tea time. Introduce your kids to the game and turn a walk around the block into a walk around the course. Check out www.kidcaddygolf.com or the link in our bio to get more details. In that vein, JJ, love a story about your kids or dad in the world of golf. You take it from here.
Yeah, sure. So on our social media, the company's social media, I talked recently about the battle that I've had trying to beat my dad in golf. And we'd play over the past few years, and I would just lose 3 strokes, 2 strokes, 1 stroke playoff, and also just completely losing it and losing by 10, 15 strokes. So I was cleaning my house recently, or not, I was cleaning my house. I got a new bag. So I was going through my old bag and I was looking at some old scorecards that I had. And I pulled out this one scorecard, which should be around here somewhere. I'll have to get it later. And I'm looking at the card, I'm looking at the names, and I put there's JJ on the name. That's my name. And then there's Dad, and I'm looking at the score, and it goes JJ 99, Dad 103. And I look at the date of the card, and it's 2011. So I whooped my dad 12 years ago, celebrated, forgot about it, and then had spent the past 12 years thinking that I haven't beaten my dad yet in golf. Allowing him to talk so much smack, allowing myself to get so nervous about trying to win that match that I hadn't won yet. And I had done it 12 years ago. So I haven't told my dad yet that I found the scorecard, and I'm curious if he knows that I whooped him before and he's just been lying this whole time and not reminding me of this, or if we both forgot because we're absent-minded and now we're going to have this revelation that I've already won. But he's got so many W's in the bag already. It would take me 3 or 4 lifetimes to whoop him and have us get to 500. But it was one of those cool revelations where that card is going to go up on the wall. And it was a great opportunity for the two of us.
First of all, if he knows, that's next level trolling, and I love everything about your dad. But where I was going with this is, it sounds a lot like Tucker really could rely on you for therapy, because that's a similar thing that he's going through. It's been like 14 years, and he hasn't been able to beat me. And so you guys have a lot in common. Honestly, maybe it's good that you guys are paired together in the same cart. I'm out here vibing to Coldplay, thinking about all the tears that y'all been shedding, and I'm over here vibing, and you guys need some therapy together.
So actually, this leads to an actual semi-serious question, JJ. The one thing that I, reading a lot of times about like really top athletes and the top of the top of any game ever, regardless of whatever sport you want to talk about, is Tiger Woods. I know it's golf specific and it helps with our talk here today, but Tiger Woods is arguably the greatest athlete of all time at his sport. And one of the things he said, you talked about results with your dad. One of the things he talks about a lot is focusing on, and the things that him and his dad focused on were process and not actual results. So you work with a lot of athletes. Do you find that like setting goals to like beat your dad are more helpful, or is it like focusing on like I went to the gym 6 days in a row or something that you find is more helpful in the progress of an athlete?
That's a great question. So you can either be process oriented or goal oriented. And when we think about elite sports, if you're goal oriented and your goal is to win or come in first place or do whatever it is, there's so many variables outside of your control. There's the weather, there are the referees, there's your opponents, there's your body, right? Your body could be tight, you could be dehydrated or whatever it is. And so when you put that much pressure on yourself that the only satisfaction you will have, or the only way that you'll feel good about your sport or that you did a good job is if you win, you're going to have fewer opportunities to feel that satisfaction and get that reinforcement, that nourishment, than if you're process oriented. How are you doing with your long wedges or your short wedges? How are you doing with your putting? Are your putting statistics improving even though you might not be winning competitions? So when you're thinking about the process, it also helps open up opportunities for gratitude, similar to if I'm in Boston and I'm driving to New York and the only thing I care about is getting to New York, I'm really missing an opportunity to enjoy all the beautiful scenery along the way, all the great places to eat along the way, and all the other things that might make that trip more enjoyable and more tolerable.
What would you say to, I mean, we try to provide real advice to dads here. I think one of the things that I'm worried about, and even that's changed even from when Ian and I were in school, was the pressure on 12, 13, 14-year olds to accelerate at a sport really, really, really early in life. What would you say to the dads out there that might be listening to this, talking to their kid about the advice that they can give them, both to help them along their game, but at the same time, we all know like staying motivated with it is such a huge component. So not burning them out while you're doing it.
Yeah, I think the reasons for youth being involved in sports are so broad. You know, some parents want their kids to be involved in sport because they want the physical activity and physical fitness. Other people want the social aspect. Some people just, need a break and they want their kid to be involved in after school activity because of work schedules and different life circumstances. And then there are those kids and those young people who are really elite athletes who really want to take their sport to the next level. And for those kids, those youth, what we really want to talk about is, what's your goal? Is your goal playing professional basketball? Is your goal playing in college? Okay, if you're playing in college, your goal is to get recruited to college and you're 12. Let's think about the progression, the steps that it's going to take to get you there. And this place where you need to be as an athlete at 12 is going to be different than where you need to be at 15 and 16. So let's appreciate the learning and the progression that you're going to go through to get there, as opposed to feeling as though you need to get there now. And so when you kind of clamp down and tamp down some of that urgency that a rambunctious, excited, distractible 12-year-old would have about wanting to pursue this beautiful goal, and you help give them manageable steps to accomplish, they're going to be more reinforced to continue with the sport and understand that they're going to get there eventually because they're being deliberate, and that these steps towards success are ordinary, they're repeatable, and they're small. And if I do these things over and over again, and there's a study about it called the mundanity of excellence, you will be able to achieve what you want to. And then they might be able to pivot because they might not grow tall enough, or they might not be strong enough to play the sport, but they'll still have those psychological skills of resilience and determination and stamina to be able to do anything else that they want to do in life.
Yeah, I think the cool part about the game of golf, especially for parents and getting your kids exposed, is this game in itself teaches you so much, right? I mean, you have to call penalties on yourself. You get bad breaks. You're on your own, right? So the game of golf itself puts you, I feel like, it's not the closest, but I think it's very close to the real world, but you're only 12 or 13. And over time, you'll start to realize, wow, this is really relatable. Even if you don't pursue golf further than just high school or middle school or just casual golf. I think like for me, like I struggled on the mental side. I truly believe the mental side is what kept me from being a college golfer. Maybe not D1. I'm not crazy. I'm not out of my mind. I never hit the ball far enough, but I could have gone and played D2 or D3. But mentally, I struggled. We had a episode, like 4 or 5 episodes about like temper tantrums on the golf course and stuff like that. So like for you, and maybe you haven't come across it, but like what would be something you would recommend that parents should focus on with their kids to make sure that they're in the right mental space to maximize their game?
I think really reminding young people that confidence is not a constant, And that's, again, some of the sports psychology research. So if we watch somebody, like you mentioned Tiger Woods, so we'll use him again, we watch him compete, we assume that he's confident the whole time because his results are high, his results are good. But if we had the God calculator and could see inside him and talk to him honestly, we gave him, truth serum, he would probably admit that, yeah, when I stepped up to that shot to try to get on the fairway in two, I was super nervous. So we never really get to see the inner workings of professional athletes or elite athletes. We make these at times irrational assumptions about how they're able to deal and cope with stress. So as long as that, once we get that reality out there that the elite athletes are probably just as nervous as we are, it allows us to experience that nervousness without making it think that we're going to be unsuccessful in whatever we're doing.
I think it's a good point. There was a book, I think it was Hank Haney who wrote it, and it was the first time that you got what I felt a real peek behind the mental side of Tiger. And in the book, he talks about like Tiger hated stepping on one tee and hitting his first tee shot. And that a lot of the time dictated how the round would go. Is did he hit the fairway on one or did he not hit the fairway on one? And if you start to think back and you go rewatch some of these majors, or they were re-showing a round of golf from Tiger in 2005 or whatever, think about that. And then when you watch it, like there are rounds where he misses fairway on one and in the round is a complete disaster. It's one of those rounds he has to grind through, or he stripes it. Like, oh snap, watch out, like this guy's gonna go chase him down. And you didn't really think, is when before that book, and this came out after the accident, the first one when he got divorced, he looked untouchable. He looked like this guy, nothing fazed him. At the time, I think only Y.E. Yang had really like run him down. And that was the first time we were like, holy crap, like this guy's human. And that was when I saw it. So yeah, it's a good point.
Ian, the reason that you couldn't go to and play college golf had nothing to do with your mental game. It had everything to do with loft.
Dude.
Lack of effing talent.
Okay. All right, pal. All right, buddy.
Damn.
That hurts. That hurts. But that's fine. It's all this chirping from a guy who just can't beat me. So until you beat me,
I'm gonna hit a 2-iron.
I don't need. Again, the prerequisite to a 2-iron. Do you have a 2-iron, JJ?
No, I stop at the 4-iron.
Of course. See,
no
he
beard.
doesn't have
That's
the beard.
The thing.
Yep, he's got the no hair going, but he doesn't have a beard. That's the prerequisite. So of course
I shaved it right before I came on, actually,
because he knew that was a prerequisite of the show. I mean, the guy's a freaking branding marketing genius. Yes. So
with the Yankees in
there. Yeah, exactly. It's true. Johnny Damon was never the same. Yeah, no, that's how I knew automatically. Of course, I can't hit a 2-iron. I don't have a beard and I don't have no hair. So next,
don't talk about the guy that abandoned JJ's beloved Red Sox to go to the Yankees and Johnny Damon.
Look, I just wanted
a massive,
just a little
massive mess up on your end. JJ, I'm on your side here. Like, Hambino is basically the Johnny Damon.
No, Johnny should have never left. There was no question. Johnny was that. Boston was Johnny, or Johnny was Boston, I should say. But like that, he should have never left. But actually, I'm curious. While we're on Johnny, like, what was your thoughts when he left? Was that like he's the worst, or was it like were you like happy to see him fail in New York, or what was that feeling like? Because that's gotta be tough.
It's weird in that there's so many Boston Red Sox that go to the Yankees and vice versa. So you have that animosity during the games, but I don't have any animosity for the players. You got to do what's best for you. Mm-hmm. So there's Ellsbury left. Johnny Damon left. Wade Boggs played for the Yankees, who is like a lifer Red Sox player. So we've seen Roger Clemens. We've seen so many switch sides that it's kind of like, okay, that's what they're doing, and you give them the business when they're in Fenway. But like, I don't really have any animosity about a grown person deciding where they want to work. Like, feel free to do what you want to do with your life and your family's life. I'm happy for you that you get paid that much and you get the decision. So that's where I'm at with it.
So, JJ, I think you have actually an insight into just in the world that you work in, into the athlete mind, that I think, like, when, Hambino and I are very competitive and we'll go out and we'll talk trash, but I think there is a breakdown and sometimes between the fan and the player dynamic of I sometimes feel like when players go in like on the field and like you see it in the Stanley Cup all the time, like the guys are like killing each other and then they get done and then they just like shake hands, where fans carry that animosity for like ever. Like they care more about what actually happened than what the athletes do. Is that just kind of the is that a professional side of like, oh, that's just money, it's just our job? Or is that just kind of the thing that you have to do if you're an athlete of, just like all of us, when I leave work, I have to leave it where it is.
I think for the athletes, and again, I've never played at a professional level, so I can't necessarily speak to my own experience, but I think for a lot of athletes, it's an appreciation of the performance. Like, I appreciate and know what it took for you to step on the court, step on the ice, step on the field, and to give your all and to win or to lose and to compete at that high level. And I have a great appreciation for the effort you put into it. And, particularly in sports like basketball, where there's only, 450 people in the NBA, everybody knows each other. They played AAU or, they're relatives or, regionally they know each other. So it is a very cool kind of family reunion at the end of games where you get to check in with people that you don't get to see that frequently, but you have this really unique, only you and them can understand what you go through life experience. Because like you said, the life of a typical professional athlete is standard deviations different than other people in their community. So the only people they can really relate to are other athletes.
Yeah, to come full circle, because we started with Dion and Travis Hunter. I thought it was really cool. And credit to this kid, first of all, that Travis had. I would never at 18 or at 19 or whatever, however he's now 20 years old, be able to do this. The kid who cheap shotted him, if you didn't see it, was against Colorado State. You can see the highlight. Well, he could have taken low blows. He could have threw him under the bus. He could have taken whatever route he would have, because justifiably, it was a cheap shot. Like, he had every right to say, F this guy, right? No, you know what he did? He brought him on his podcast because he heard he was getting, death threats from Colorado fans. He brought the same kid on his podcast. They sat on the bench and they talked it out. They hugged it out. I could not mentally be in that space. And so, but like you said, it's just a respect. Like, you're at the top of your game. I'm at the top of my game. I know it wasn't intentional. I get it. This is the sport we play. Like, to be in that mental headspace at 20 years old, incredible. This is the kid who decommitted from Florida State. So I was like, oh, I want to not like this guy. But like, when I saw that, I'm like, nah, I can't not like this guy. I mean, that's so cool. And you're right. It's a different headspace when you're an athlete than it is a fan.
Which, by the way, fans, please stop sending death threats to players over stuff that happens on the field. Like, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. People are kicking a ball for a living. Like, just relax. It's not that big of a deal, right? Like, and I say that as a dude that literally my wife yells at me every Florida State game I watch because I can't stop but stand 3 feet from the television.
Same.
And walk back and forth because I'm freaking out of my skull. If I'm that intense and don't send a death threat to somebody who fumbled a football, you cannot as well, right? Like, I'm not like the casual, like, oh, it's just a game. Like, this is a big part of my life. You're being stupid. Just to be very clear. That's Holt's hot take.
Real quick, for the record, just to add to this, because there are a lot of people that listen to this. People like you said, you walk back and forth. I'm the same way. I can't stop pacing. My dog can sense the anxiety, jumps on me, like that kind of stuff, right? And then people are like, my Brit will do this. My wife, she'll be like, I don't understand how like you guys care so much about sports, blah, blah, blah. Or like random people who are at the bar and they're like, man, this guy cares about it a lot. And I'm not like being a jerk or anything to anybody. I'm just like intense. Like, I don't talk to me. I just want to watch the game. And they're like, oh, I can't believe he cares about sports. Like, this is the same person who's been talking about politics for the last 3 hours. X, this, and this. Like, hey, I can care about what I want to care about. You care about what you care about. Like, come on, just let me live my life. So anyway, just want to get that out there.
No, I think you're perfectly on point. I think there's something about competition that just evolutionarily is in us. We love watching competition. We love to compete. And there's probably some biological thing inside our body that it gets excited and enjoys watching that. So
100%.
I think it's there. And we all have things that give us pleasure. The world is so stressful. Raising families and jobs are stressful. And if we have an opportunity to have a healthy escape, I think that's something that we got to really look into.
100%.
So, y'all, this is a great conversation. I don't want to cut it short. So, what I want to do here is the same thing that actually we did with Mike Dixon a couple weeks ago, and just kind of do a quick break. We're going to come back and just finish the episode out. I know we're running a little bit long. JJ, I appreciate you being on, and this is just such a great conversation. I don't want to just say, okay, we're done, stop talking. But we'll be right back right after this, because there's another side of your business as well that I want to get to.